welcome to my Artist to Artist program. And today, my guest is a young artist, Max Reinhard.
Hello.
Hi. So, my introduction would be, he is an artist of very delicate, beautiful color, artist who paint other words. How would you introduce yourself to the public, for people who don't know you?
Well, my name is Max. I am a recent graduate of Montserrat College of Art, class of 2018. And I guess I would classify myself now as a painter who is focused both on more technical studies of color and light, as well as incorporating aspects of fantasy into my work. But I guess that's a little long-winded compared to your very concise description.
So, fantasy is important. I understand you're right now still in the process of studying because you're young, and it's time. Obviously, this is time when you develop yourself, learn new skills. But I can see that fantasy is very important for you. Where do you take your inspiration?
I think that I've been really interested in like magic and fantasy ever since I was really little. My dad introduced me to Miyazaki movies, so Studio Ghibli films, when I was very young, and I've just always been really interested in sort of this other world that you can escape to. I think a lot of it is tied to that escapism and just the feeling of the way that you felt in your childhood that it can evoke. You know, fantasy and magic, it brings out those feelings in adults that make you feel like a kid again, that I'm really interested in evoking from viewers.
So you feel like a kid. You feel like you have very, very like childish energy inside.
Yeah, I would say in some aspects, at least yeah, no, I would agree.
It is important when you feel young, when you feel like a child, you can have a long life. It is good for artists to have a long life, right? We can enjoy our art much longer. And I know artists who live like over 90 and still they feel like, young child. And it's amazing that you can do it. And art actually helps you to do such a thing. So you mentioned your father. Uh, Sounds like your father had a big influence in your life and in your artistic life, particularly, huh?
Yes, both my parents did in similar and different ways. On my dad's side of the family, we come from a line of artists, never any professional artists, but around the house we would always have watercolor and oil paintings that my grandmothers and my great grandmothers and great aunts used to paint all around the house. My grandmother on my dad's side started learning art when she was maybe in her 70s, teaching herself to paint. And then my dad, even though a doctor is his profession, he has all of these hidden projects. Like he'll pull out one day, he showed me embroideries that he used to do, or weavings, or wood burnings. And my mom is an artist as well. She's a copper sculptor, so she makes these large scale, 6 to maybe 10 or 12 feet tall copper sculptures.
Oh, that's great. So you've been involved in real artistic life since your childhood. So how did it look? Should we take you to the exhibitions? You spent time at your studio. How how was that?
I have this very vivid memory of when I was little in my mom's apartment, and to get ready for a sculpture, she would tape up these huge sheets of paper to the wall and take out these big sticks of charcoal and just start drawing these sweeping motions to get the feel of what she wanted to do for her sculpture. And she would always tape up an extra piece for me and my brother, who would sit next to her and draw on the wall with her.
Amazing. That's amazing. Wonderful woman besides and wonderful mother besides the artist. It's very good that she pays such a great attention. Because sometimes artists they don't pay that attention to their children. They too much concentrated on their own art projects, and a child kind of like slips away as a project. But you obviously didn't have that issue in your life. So, but now you have your own family, and congratulations. I know like you married this year, right?
Well, I got engaged this year, but we're waiting until 2022 to actually get married because of the, COVID situation. We want to actually have people get together, so we're hoping that that will be a thing.
Oh, that would be wonderful to have a real wedding, right?
Yeah.
Just us two, but you got engaged, and so you obviously plan family. So what do you think you're going to be relationships with your children? Are you going to be a devoted father? What do you think?
Yes, I think so. I've always seen myself as a parent and being involved in my hypothetical child's life, much like my mother was. I think that it definitely is a bit of a fantasy and probably much more challenging to get real focused studio time where you can be diligent to your craft while also being a focused and attentive parent. But the dream would be to marry the two, have kids drawing in the corner while you're working on a painting. And to me, that's quality family time.
Okay, so but now you have all the time for yourself and as an artist. And how much time do you really spend? Like, what does your day look like? How much, I understand you work, but how much time do you devote for your art projects? How does it look? Like every day, every day?
Yes, it definitely depends on the amount of work commission requests that I have, and also my inspiration. Some weeks I don't spend a lot of time in the studio just to recharge, but when I am working, usually I will get up and spend about 2.5 hours in the studio on days that I'm working. And then I'll try and spend at least one full work day on the weekend, so at least 6 to 8 hours for one day, and then maybe a few more hours the next day. So maybe 15 to 25 hours in the studio, depending on the week.
Would you like to have more? Like, what is your wish? You want to spend much more time?
Yeah, well, the dream, of course, is to quit the day job and just work on art all day. I can definitely see myself doing that. I have that ADHD hyper focus, so sometimes I'll forget to eat, forget to do anything else other than work on art all day. So yeah, I would love to be able to spend a full work day in the studio each day.
Yeah. So, but now you have a work. What kind of work do you do? What does artist have to do to support himself? To
So
paint, you know?
yeah, so my current day job is I am a member service representative with a company called Virgin Pulse. So basically it's just customer service on the phone. So I help people fix their tech problems, and it pays pretty comfortably. Like I'm not I was working in retail, part-time retail for a little bit, and it definitely didn't feel like I was ever really making any money. But here I'm very fortunate to be able to be working from home right now, which gives me more time in this studio as well because it cuts down on my commute.
Yes, definitely, definitely. You can just move from one room to another room. Is that what it is?
Yep, I can stop working on art at 12:15 and get on the phone at 12:30, so that's very nice.
Yeah. Wouldn't it be nice to have like even smaller part-time job, but we pay a little bit more and spend more time on the art?
If I could still keep my benefits, that would be lovely.
Lovely. That's the goal for the next year, right? To
Yeah,
increase,
eventually.
2% for the art and like less, a little bit less other other work and more fun,
Yeah,
right?
wean myself off of the day job one day.
Yeah, that's the dream. That's the dream. And hopefully it's gonna happen soon, you know. You're gonna grow and people will see it. Um, for people who see this video first time, I will definitely put the credits for Max at the end of the video, so you can see his page and you would see his art. Um, and pay attention for his magic art. This is really something that hopefully will grow and will build him as an artist. Because like for me, I really when I look at those pictures, obviously your childhood made something very good for you, for this perspective. You have that magic and bring it to the art, something that people lack in. It's beauty, right? The beauty are the words. But we all thirsty for it. And you bring it in. Do you have dreams sometimes? Do you have visions? I don't think it's only childhood. It should be something on you too.
Yes, so I definitely have very vivid dreams, often very disturbing. One might describe them as nightmares, but they don't feel like nightmares. I don't, have, panic in the dream. It's just more like, oh, that's strange. There are worms coming out of my skin now. Okay. Like just very vivid, disturbing imagery. Yeah,
Worms came out of me too in the dream.
but it's always just very observant, I'm never terrified. It's just, oh, the sky is the ocean now, and there are hands coming out of the walls. So there's definitely some influence there, and I think dealing with sort of chronic pain and chronic illness throughout a lot of my adolescence also really drove me to work with fantasy more, because it was very much an escape. And I found sort of these magical worlds of like mushrooms and forests and decay very interesting to someone who felt like their body was starting to decay. So I was interested in sort of that morose imagery, and became very interested in nature and cycles of life and death, and also the magic that's in that.
Yeah. So your dreams had influenced you so much because it is in yourself. It is basically what you're painting. It is you, right? So do you have daytime vision sometimes? Do you have like that happen?
Um, I wouldn't say that there's so much visions, more just imagination. I think that it's something that most artists have, where you look at something and see something else, and then we just take it a step further and sort of create a world out of it, or put that onto paper.
When you look at the person sometimes, do you see some other creatures? Do you like imagine something else?
Not usually, to be boring. No, I
What's
think
to that?
it's more things I see in the abstract, seeing like a weird tree stump and thinking, oh, that could be a witch that's hiding, like, to look like a tree stump. That's more of my imagination at work.
So more on a nature level. But imagine that people come to you and ask, so Max, can you be my portrait? But like, I don't want to be just a person. Can you paint me like in your imaginary world, like some other creature? Would that be great? Would be that like
Yeah.
fun? Have their features incorporated in some like imaginary creature, something from out of there.
I would love that. In fact, one of my friends, Jasmine Goodspeed, she has modeled for me before, and I had her come in wearing fairy ears and fairy wings so that I could use that to draw and paint fairies, but using her as the model, so I had realistic lighting and colors that I could work from. So that marriage of like realism and lighting and color and shape and design focus mixed with the magic of fantasy. My goal is ultimately the marriage of those two.
That would be wonderful, right? Actually, I remember that portrait you're talking about. It's very beautiful. I love this. I love this portrait. I think it is really great marriage. This niche is completely open. Maybe you really could do something like this. Why not? People don't need to wear ears for you to paint them. You can paint what you want, right? So what is your favorite techniques that you use? You like watercolor, oil, acrylics? What is your favorite one?
My favorite that I use most often is gouache. Sometimes I use acrylic gouache, and I'm trying to get back into oils more, but mostly I just use gouache.
Yeah, is it because they smell? You don't use oil that much?
I'm kind of lazy, so oils are very messy, and there's a lot of setup, and there's a lot of cleanup, and I don't have good ventilation. So gouache is so easy. You can leave the paint on your brush and clean it up the next day, and it won't ruin your brush. It's really easy to take on the go for plein air painting, and you can blend it, you can reactivate it once it's dry, or you can go over it in layers and make them not bleed into each other. So I think that it's a really great and really versatile medium.
Oh, you reactivate the gouache? Do you like spray it with something? What do you
Uh,
do
if,
to,
if you
what do you
just
do
use
to
water.
you just spray it with the water?
Well, it's water activated, so you can just take some water on your brush and it moves again, like watercolor.
So I thought Max had some kind of a special trick, but the truth is that Max is just very talented and he thinks that gouache is very easy. So for those who don't know, when gouache dries, it changes color a little bit. And when you go to start painting, the color of wet gouache is different. So you kind of have like, need to have some kind of like a computer inside that matches those two differences. You kind of need to like have special intuition to understand how much tones it needs to be done. And Max does it, obviously, intuitively as an artist, because his works don't have any flaws, like there's no flaw there. It's just beautiful. So it is gouache. That explains that like lightness and delicacy. I think maybe you chose very good technique for yourself. Maybe just something that matches you. Maybe it's not because oil is messy or it needs ventilation. Maybe just gouache is just something really good for you, right?
It definitely does attract me in many ways, including that gouache is commonly used for illustration because you can get really flat, matte, consistent colors. You can use it to, it dries very fast. It's a very fast medium. And I'm very impulsive. I want to work quickly. I want to finish it. I don't want to wait for layers to dry. And then you can use it, more realistically like an oil paint where you kind of have like these impressionistic strokes, or you can use it very illustratively. So I think that it's a really good medium to combine those two, to make sort of fantasy illustrations, but also make it feel impressionistic. That's the goal anyway. That's what I'm working towards.
Yeah, impressionism is something that can bring more feelings into it, and your works actually do have those feelings. You can see it, sensitivity. You're a very sensitive person, don't you?
Yeah.
So how does it how does it appears in life? Your sensitivity. You're very sensitive. You're an artist. You work, but does it help you in a life, in a regular life, every day? You know.
Well, I think it's definitely a double-edged sword. There are a lot of um, benefits to it, and I believe that it enriches my life. I'm very empathic. So on the one hand, I can really connect with people. On the other hand, that's not great for my job, because I'm, on the phone.
Connect too much.
Yeah, you deal with a lot of people sort of unloading on you emotionally. So
Oh,
in that sense, it can be very difficult for someone like me who really like feels every emotion from someone else. But I think that, without that sensitivity, my art probably wouldn't have the same feeling to it. And
yeah.
I mean, my father is a very sensitive man as well, and he's been a huge influence on my life, and I love him very much. And I have, I think that my life is the better for it.
So you accept it as it is.
I'm good. Yeah.
Yeah. Does it help you with customers? You like there are some people who commission you. Does it help you the sensitivity to work with them?
Yes, I think so because I usually ask my clients to give me a little bit of information about their pets that I'm painting, so I get a sense of their personality, and I'll try to sort of channel that when I'm painting them. Or sometimes I'll get requests for memorial portraits of pets that have passed away, and I'll often, listen to music and really just sort of while I'm painting, I'll feel like the love and the care that this person has for their deceased pet who they're now, um, you know, paying me to portray for them, which is such an honor. And I think that um, sort of holding that with me while I paint, you can feel the love in the painting more. I know it sounds a little bit cheesy, but I really do put a lot of love into them. So I think that makes them special.
Do you think those this work with the pet portraits, do you think it's like time for you, like a lot of it's just a study time, or do you think you aiding something for yourself as an artist too?
So do you mean like
Do
if
you
it's
take something from it as an artist for yourself? It's a hard question, I know. If you don't want to
so
answer them.
no, it's a good question. I think that, I definitely have put more personal projects aside in order to work on them, but I make sure that with the pet portraits, I'm also focusing on what I want to learn. Um, so I'm really focusing on trying to capture the qualities of light and using limited color palettes. I'm still working on my strokes and making everything consistent, everything have the same hand to it throughout the painting. I'm working on
Yeah,
time, trying to do things um, within finish a project within a deadline. So I'm focusing on working on all the things I still want to learn, but there's definitely less time for more indulgent projects that I want to do. But I'll get to them eventually. I'm not sure if that answers your question.
um, do you think it would have been even possible uh, for those pets to be like part of the magical world in your on your art? Like when I look at my cat Teddy, like I always think like, what if Teddy would have wings? How would that would look? He would devastate the whole area probably, but he would be so beautiful. He's beautiful enough, but
I did draw a cat with moth wings for one of my friends once, so I am down. If anyone wants to message me and say, "Hey, can you draw my cat, but make my cat a fairy or whatever," I will do it. So that sounds like a fun project. Most people want something more traditional, so that's what I have been doing. But I did that one portrait where I did like an Art Nouveau style portrait of a cat with lots of
I
fancy
love
sort
it.
of,
Beautiful,
yeah, it's
beautiful. I
fun.
love this.
Thank you.
Uh, for everyone out there who's watching it, if you want your pet's portraits to be priceless later, it's important to incorporate his talent, his magic art. So use it, take advantage of him. your pet can be a part of that magical world that he has in himself, and like it's basically it can bring up, it will bring uh, the more precious to that portrait. It will be something unusual. It will be without people portraits or pets portraits. Just imagine that. Right now I'm talking to the public, not only to Max. Max knows all those things. Yes, that would be great. Yes, yes. But imagine it. This artist, he can have that niche. He can have that niche. In fact, he can become to be famous as that, because he's like has that beautiful magic inside himself. He can bring it up into your world, in your pet, in your own portraits, and you can help him to be famous, and you will help yourself too. You will have something maybe priceless in your house. Think about it, everyone.
Maybe one of
Yes,
a kind.
yes, that would be great, right? To have that magical word extended, everywhere. That's to the people and the trees. Because you can do this, just because you can do this, right?
Yeah, I'm more than willing to experiment with that. That sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah, and in art, it is important to have fun. And when you too serious, the art can be like you kill the art. You get too serious. Uh, art is a joy. Art is beauty. And when artist feels that joy, it will be you will feel it in your in that painting and drawing. You'll feel it, and it will support your energy too. Like when you have that art that created with joy, you will feel it. You'll feel it from him, because he has a lot of that sensitivity, a lot of that energy, like delicate beauty that he can share with everyone. So Max, but how often in the world people saw you as a weirdo, something really strange?
Probably all my life, for sure. Thinking back even to elementary school, I was definitely a weirdo. I would always come to school uh, dressed up in whatever I felt like I wanted to that day, whether that meant wrapping my head in tinfoil or trying to leave the house just by tying a bunch of scarves around my body, like when I was like 4. Um, so I definitely never had a problem with expressing myself, even when I sort of was unaware of, the kind of uh, the social contract yet. So yeah, definitely always a weirdo, and hopefully will always be one.
Yeah, why not? You notice, like, it's our norm. Why not? Right? It's like just it's our skin. We can do whatever we want. I don't know, right? You probably did many of those things that other people would think as uncomfortable and weird, and you wouldn't even notice it, right?
Yeah,
Like,
that's,
because artists sometimes don't register things. We like. Do you often in your like in your mind and your imagination, and you just don't notice some stuff around?
yes, I think that's also having ADD as well. Sometimes I have selective vision, and I will only see what I want to see, and usually miss the big picture, miss, what's important because I'm focused on a detail on the side. I would definitely be that kid in a field trip that strays away from the rest of the group to go like poke a stick at some mud, you know. So yeah, I see that a lot sometimes when my fiance and I are going on a walk, and
Mhm.
I don't even pay attention to what I'm doing, and I hear her say, "Don't touch that." um, I'm just like, what? It's just a lump of slime on the ground. I want to see what it does, So that curiosity, um, that I've always had, that where I kind of am unaware of, maybe I shouldn't do that. Maybe I should think before I, go poking something mysterious. But I want to know. So.
She's taking care of you, so you won't touch something dangerous.
Yeah, always looking out for me.
Maybe your parents didn't watch out that you know specifically because they were very artistic by themselves. But is your fiance artistic? What does she do? Does it like do you who is she? What does she do for life?
Well, she is a portfolio oversight manager for Bank of America Private Bank. So I would say that she's definitely the left brain to my right brain. She is creative as well. But I think, at this stage in our lives, she is more focused sort of on her career goals, and like building a life, looking into buying a house. Uh, she doesn't really paint or draw much, except for sometimes when we'll draw something together because I want to, do some type of doodle game or something.
So you get her involved a little bit so she can like feel a little bit, touch it, right? The art.
Yeah. Sometimes it's fun, have each other draw Pokemon from memory or something, just something to unwind.
Oh, that's probably good for her anyway to be exposed, right? But but y- so she doesn't really help you anyhow, right? She doesn't uh she's not influencing you anyway. You just like but in the same time you have a freedom, right? Look, she doesn't pressure you anywhere. Is that what it is?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't go as far as to say that she doesn't influence me because I think she definitely does, just not in an artistically direct way. Like we don't work off of each other as peers, sort of the way you would with, your fellow classmates in art school. Um, but she definitely is my support. She's the reason that I'm able to do a lot of the things that I do. She makes more money than me, so we can live, you know, uh, reasonably comfortably, and I can take the time to work on my art because I don't have to, you know, um, get another job that makes more money. She is very supportive for where if I want to go and paint something, she'll come with me, even though it means just sitting around for hours while I, paint a landscape. So I think she's very supportive and definitely helps with my artistic journey, even if it's not in that direct way, you know.
It's very good. It's very good that you have such a support. She even obviously like trying to create some conditions for you. It is very good. I'm glad you have that person in your life. It is important. So do you have any other people in your life that help you? That help your your artistic life to be for you to be an artist? Do you have any other people around you that support you?
Yes, I would say that I have a lot of friends that are very supportive. I think the way that that support is most often showed is just through sort of honestly social media, especially since we're not seeing people as much, if at all, right now. So even just friends that like or comment on my posts or you know give me encouragement, or share my art, or even friends that post their own art, and we have this sort of silent camaraderie of, oh, I see you making art, I should make art. I'm inspired by what you're making. You're inspired by what I'm making. So sort of use each other as like either healthy competition or just encouragement to work on our art. And I think that's really important, and that I'm very lucky to have as well.
It is very important for artists to have support, obviously, and I hope your support will grow um, more and more and more. Because um, yes, you create your studio, you create your projects, and yes, you do have fun. But always good when you see response from others. It's always good. So yes, people please leave more likes to Max art, it will help him. It is important. Maybe you will be one of those people supporters who will help him to grow. it is important for him. He does want to be bigger, right? You want.
Yeah, eventually, I one of my favorite things I think is seeing younger artists though that get inspired. If someone messages me saying, "Oh, I like your art a lot, so I made this," or I saw you painting a pet portrait and now I'm painting a pet portrait. That I think is the most encouragement to me because I look up to so many people. So seeing that chain of someone younger looking up to me just makes me feel sort of part of that cycle and that artistic community. That I think is a really beautiful thing.
Oh, so do you see yourself as a teacher for other
Yes,
artists, for younger ones?
yes. In fact, I worked for a little while as an artist mentor at New Urban Arts, which is in downtown Providence, Rhode Island. So, along with being just a sort of general mentor to high school age kids, I also taught some art classes. I think that my personality lends itself to explaining and lecturing and wanting to see people grow and improve. That's just part of my nature. So um, even though I'm, by no means an expert, I do see myself um, as someone that is definitely inclined towards teaching others.
Yeah, I can see that in you. I can see that you can be a good teacher because you're very like delicate in your listen and you feel other people when it is important. So, but that was before COVID, correct? So now you can't have those classes. Um, so, but if the COVID would be over, like, would you be willing to try to teach again, to do something like that again? Maybe have your own, studio and teaching?
I definitely would. Not at that particular job right now, just because it doesn't fit with my work schedule. But I definitely am interested um, in teaching. I'm not sure if I would more want to do younger children or sort of older high school or college, even college age eventually um, students. But I could definitely see that as being part of my career, even if it's sort of a small thing, even just private lessons with someone. I really thrive when I can see someone's improvement from my direction. Something that's very satisfying for me.
Um, do you think, like before COVID, you had exhibitions, right? You took part in exhibitions. Tell us a little bit more about that world, exhibitions.
Yes, so I started applying to some art shows out of college. My first year out of college, maybe not so many, but by the second year, I had my own private show um, at a local college, and that was very new and exciting for me. Um, where every piece of art in there was my work, and I was like, how is this happening? I don't feel like it. I should have this yet. I'm too fresh out of art school to have my own show. And then I applied to some other galleries and got my pieces in some galleries, both local and further away. I was looking forward to, some of you may know Public in downtown. They recently had to move, but I was looking forward to applying to be part of a show there before COVID happened. And then since then, I just haven't been applying to anything because it just doesn't. I don't know. I know that art shows are still happening, but it feels very discouraging. And I don't feel like putting forward the effort and the money for the applications right now.
I kind of agree with you because like my last exhibition at Wilboro Museum, and you go there, so you don't need to pay to get into the exhibition, but you obviously need to pay to be like to show your art. And when you go in there, you see no people. Like if you see one person walking around, this is all one. That's great. It's like those a lot of exhibitions now, like just for artists. Like I don't know how to deal with that. Maybe we're just really moving online not so much because it's so easy for people, go look on their phone as they go and see, just have more exposure on the phones. However, of course, when you go live on like live exhibitions and you see all this art, it is different because you can't, it's not this, it's not exactly the same. It's different.
And
So
once people get their hands on something, that's when, they want to buy it, when they can pick it up and feel it and see it versus seeing a picture online.
So it is important for people to come to the artist studio and see the paintings, see the art. It is important. So do you invite your clients to your studio, the masks and everything? Can they come?
No, because it's in my home, and there's COVID right now, and I've never been asked for someone to see my studio since I've been out of college, and a lot of my clients are farther away, like in other states or even out of the country. So it just hasn't really come up. And I mean, my studio, it's cool, I guess. It's very interestingly decorated, but I don't know. I keep my online website and my Instagram pretty up to date, so you can always see what I'm doing there.
But would you want to have like real studio, like not in your house, but like real big studio where you can invite like people to come and see
My
the art?
dream is to have an out studio in like a little shed next to my house. So it's
Oh,
separate. It's like it's
little
separate.
shed,
It's its own building. What?
Max, a little shed or big shed?
Big enough. Big enough for to have a bunch of larger oil paintings that I can work on. But it's separate from my house and my living situation. But I don't have to pay rent on a studio and drive down and go to the studio. I can roll out of bed in my pajamas and just walk across the yard. That's the dream.
I'm on with you on this. Like this is ideal situation. That like I would love to have something like this too, or maybe like separate section in the house, right? Where you can just walk in a big space and
Yeah,
work there. Yeah, that would be nice. Maybe one day to happen. That would be great.
someplace that you can totally wreck to, where you can get paint on the floor, paint on the walls. You can hang things up with nail guns on the wall. Someplace that you can just get totally messy, but it's separate from the house, so you don't have to live in it either.
Yeah, and nobody can tell you like, oh, you need to clean it. I don't need to clean it in my studio. Right? They can do whatever they want. So, what is your dream exhibition? Where, like, is there any gallery you would want to be in, or any exhibition? Do you have any dream? Like, no.
I guess I don't really have much of a dream exhibition in terms of a gallery or location. I think it's more dream artists. So who I would be showing with. Does that make
Oh,
sense?
it does. Who would you want to be shown with?
Oh God, if I could curate my own show, I would probably shouldn't do it because everyone else's work would sort of outshine mine, in my opinion. But still, if it was like my dream show, it would be like Jaw Cooper, Audra Eau Claire, James Jean, James Gurney, and yeah, it would be a very weird show. And people that have so much more notoriety and make such beautiful work. But if that's, I think, something more so than, oh well, I had a gallery show here or I had a gallery show there. It's like, oh, I had a gallery show with these like incredible artists.
Yeah, That's a good company. I like you choosing.
And Vincent
But
van
maybe
Gogh and Rembrandt and me.
so. Maybe maybe bigger sizes, can like do take more space on the wall and
Mm.
bigger splash of paint. I mean, not splash of paint, but
Mhm.
bigger painting.
And I would like to work bigger. I think a lot of it is the constraints of the medium. With gouache, it's a little harder to work bigger in gouache. I've
Yes,
been, yeah, it's, they're, I mean, I guess if I was, doing an illustration and working piece by piece, but a lot of the still lifes and the plein airs, I'm definitely more comfortable working small. This is kind of the largest size that I'll
hmm
work when I'm doing gouache plein air, but I'm trying to get more into oils right now. And I did a large meat painting, and I'm looking to do more sort of portraits, um, large style. So we'll see, maybe more of that in the future.
Did you try acrylic? Did you try acrylic? So in acrylic, you can maybe it's a little sharper, yes, but you still can do a lot of things with it, and you can manipulate the colors too. Do you like acrylic? Did you? No, no, not really. Not yours doesn't smell
I
though, but
I mean, I like acrylic gouache because it's matte. It's not shiny. I don't like
yeah,
the shiny
that's
quality.
a good point.
I know that you can
Okay.
mix like matte medium with it, or do like a matte finish to it. But one of the reasons I like gouache and I like oils is you can really get things flat. I hate having to paint, like trying to get details into things later where the paint has dried lumpy and it's really hard to get fine details and paint like in those crevices, I guess, when it gets like really textured. I don't like
No,
my work to be
no,
textured. I like it flat.
no, acrylic you can do quite flat. No, you can find the ways to do it. Maybe
Mhm.
Um, but you obviously like feeling out what is your techniques to work, and like, I'm sure you'll figure out what is the best for you. You're the boss, right? You're the artist of your you're the boss of your own art. You know what you're doing. Of course, right now you do you feel like right now you're in a stage of studying and growing, and it's you like things can change in your art. You like more fluid.
Yeah, I think that things have always been changing in my art. My art has never really been that consistent. Um, if you look back through years and years, there are themes that are consistent, and I've definitely been more consistent in my work in the past year and a half or two, than they have been before. So I think I'm starting to find my style and what I'm good at, but knowing me, I will want to change it up and try more things. And I foresee many more inconsistencies in the future, but I think that it all leads to more interesting work because I don't stick with the same thing. I always want to try new things and combine different techniques. So hopefully it will lead to more interesting art in the future.
Yes, that's what we artists do. We just like it's important for, in my opinion, it's important for artists not to just be conservative, but grow, experiment. Um, you know, that's how Picasso, come to Picasso, and um, he's a great example. You can just live like it's like he lived several lives in one life, like as an artist, right? Why
Mhm.
not? Why not? Life, like make it a game, make it a pleasure and fun. So public, please don't be surprised if Max is going to change something in his creative approach. Like something new is going to come out. It's all going to be good. He's a talented guy. Now, I enjoyed very much talking to you, Max. And I wish you the best in your artist career. I really hope you to grow, and I'm sure a lot of people want to see you growing, and we'll be watching. We'll be watching.